3 o'clock on a Monday afternoon. Welcome aboard the Postgame Show. I was going to say it's the last Monday of June, but that's wrong. It's not. Next Monday is the last Monday.
We got one more.
Yeah.
Yes. We're in the last week.
Yeah.
Like full 7 days.
We're zipping along, getting closer to a big-time national holiday. Lots of ice cream and fireworks and stuff.
SEC Media Days?
Hot dogs. No, that's just nothing but Dr. Pepper, my man.
That's right. All the Dr. Pepper you could drink.
Dr. Pepper. You know,
I turn into Forrest Gump when I go.
You know what's
SEC
unfortunate,
Media Days,
Elijah Campbell, is that back in the day, not only did we get all the Dr. Pepper we could drink, which we still do, I assume they will be doing that again for us this summer. But Golden Flake used to be a big sponsor of the Southeastern Conference, and Golden Flake used to have a big display up outside the big room at the Winfrey in Birmingham. And every day, some dude would come in, like the snack, the kind you get at the convenience store.
Right.
Your single serve bags with like 20 different flavors, every flavor of Golden Flake. Man, just grab you some Golden Flake. Now they still provide snacks and such, and that's nice. And probably too many chips is not good for you.
No.
Like I didn't know Golden Flake made tortilla chips.
Ooh.
like a Dorito knockoff and such. And they had pretzels, sour cream and onion, barbecue. Anyway. So lots to discuss on Media Days here. It is coming soon, though.
Very soon.
And again, y'all come over. It's in Atlanta. Easy drive. I-20 West. Just stop when you get there.
A lot easier than going to Dallas.
You could also take I-20 West all the way to Dallas. It's a little farther. You can take I-20 to Birmingham. A little farther. Dallas is right on the other side.
Right on the other side.
That's right.
Not misleading at all.
No.
Nope.
Just keep going west. And again, same thing. Just stop when you get there. God, I don't know how many people last time drove to Dallas and from where, but if our company had said, yeah, y'all can go, but you got to drive, I'd have been like, well, I guess I'm not going.
Guess I'm missing out this year.
Because I don't like driving to Birmingham. Atlanta is about as far as I like to drive anywhere. 200 miles. I am a creature of habit. I am self-aware. I hate driving. Some of y'all love driving. Tip of the cap to you. Our dear friend Heath Klein. Heath would probably drive to Nome, Alaska, and back. Be like, oh, it's just Alaska.
You're still in the continent.
Yeah. Heath would not care, man. I can't do it. I don't like driving. Anyway, all right. We have a lot to do today. Let me set a couple of things up, and then we'll get into the meat of it. Wes Mitchell is going to join us bottom of the hour. Gamecocks had a big recruiting weekend. Maybe the biggest targets that were on campus did not yet commit, but Wes will have insight as to some dates for a few of them or how well Carolina is doing. I think they're recruiting well, and they have they've got a tremendous sales pitch. Let's put it that way, and it's working.
Yes,
it's working. But Wes will get us caught up on what's going on. And I think the dead period, it's soon. I don't know exactly when. I remember when Shane was last with you and me on a Friday afternoon, right after the spring meetings. So like 3 weeks ago-ish? I think he said that the staff would be working 20-something consecutive days, weekends included. And then they'll have some time off. So that was good. So I think we're obviously nearing the end of that period. But we'll discuss those kind of things with Mr. Mitchell coming up in a bit. Elijah and many others down at the basketball facility today to see Lamont Paris. A little summer update on his program. A couple of injuries to talk about. Maybe some insights into Colin Murray-Boyle's professional future. And we'll get into all of those things. How is Lamont? No quarter zip on a Monday in June, right?
Well, no, he was still wearing quarter zip long sleeves.
Goodness. I guess it is air conditioned inside, but
he was still he was breaking a sweat.
Man.
He did cite that you do burn more calories that way.
Okay.
Cited calorie count as a reason to still
wear
that's fair.
Wear
the quarter zip.
That's fair.
Couldn't be me.
That's fair. Man,
it's hot outside.
Brother, and I get on my treadmill, then quickly change and shower and head over here. So I'm usually off my treadmill right around 2:00. It's inside, obviously, but just thinking about the outside. Then I walked outside and I was like, and I'm from here.
Yeah, I'm not.
But this is, we're above average. It's hot.
Yeah,
it's super hot. We'll talk about the Braves. After a terrific week in Atlanta against the Mets, the Braves went down on I guess they went on vacation and forgot to play better baseball in Miami because they didn't play very good baseball.
Might have had the Miami flu for a couple of those games.
Something like that. We'll get into that for you. A couple of NFL notes. And, of course, OKC winning the NBA championship last night. I wouldn't say in thrilling fashion. And dare I say, I would almost say in some ways anticlimactic fashion.
Yes.
But a championship nonetheless. So congratulations to OKC fans everywhere, including our dear friend Michael Geddes of Integrated Media.
Good night for him.
He's from here. I don't know how and why he became an OKC fan. Maybe a KD thing back in the day or some such. But he is an OKC fan.
Those are fun teams to watch.
He's excited. Yeah.
And former Keenan High School standout, Dylan James.
Okay. So
he was on the floor when the buzzer sounded.
Yeah. It's fun.
Got him a ring.
LSU beats Coastal 5-3 and wins 2-0 after a brilliant 1-0 game on Saturday. My goodness, that's one of the best pitching matchups you will ever see at any level of this sport. And look, as I said to Terry, and we're going to get into this throughout the afternoon. We'll read Chance Miller's statement a little bit later on.
Dylan Jones, sorry.
A lot of things can be true at once, and they may seem at times like they conflict with one another. It's difficult to make a 5-3 game that was 5-1 all about something that happened when the score was 1-0. But at the same time, it certainly had an impact when your head coach and his top assistant get run. The umpire in question is indeed a former Major League umpire named Angel Campos, who's been in college baseball presumably most of the time since he was fired from Major League Baseball, and that was back in 2014. He had controversy surround him a few years ago up in Clemson when he threw out a Clemson player in a game against Tennessee, amongst other things. One of the reasons that I did a lot of digging on him today, I knew the name, and you got to sometimes put two and two together. One of the reasons, at least the conjecture, and so I'll be careful with it, that he was removed from Major League Baseball is because he's. I'm going to be very kind here, sensitive. At the same time, I would dare I say, Elijah Campbell, that the most known and understood rule in the sport of baseball is that you cannot argue balls and strikes. Everybody knows it's not a guideline. And in the collegiate level, the professional level, it's very explicit. You will be warned, and if you decide to do anything else about it at that point, you will be ejected from the game, period. You cannot argue balls and strikes. Now, another thing that was true. Coastal Carolina was fighting for its life. It was early. It's hot. It's windy. They're nervous because they had again, brilliant pitching performance Saturday, but they couldn't score a run because LSU's pitcher was that much better.
Yeah, he went the distance.
And so could the home plate umpire have been more aware and cognizant and appreciative of the moment? Probably. Should he have been? Yeah, a little bit.
Definitely.
How much? Again, and I don't believe the umpire was. I don't believe. I think, and this is just my opinion now, but the way in which physically Angel Campos threw Kevin Schnall out, and then the LSU fans erupted. That was ump show. And then I got mad. I was like, nah, dude. This ain't about you. But you made it about you. The guy that flopped, by the way.
That was pathetic.
What the hell was that?
That was pathetic.
I mean, seriously, what the hell was that? If anything, he tripped over the umpire coming up behind him. And then did you notice, I've watched it like 20 times now, the ump, when the ump that fell was falling, at the same time, the other ump was coming in behind him and almost like threw him aside. Did you notice that?
I didn't notice that part. I was just watching this guy.
He's like, get out of my way, man. Everybody did it wrong. That's why I'm going to say a lot of things can be true. Everybody did it wrong. Kevin Schnall, I think, again, my opinion, and I say this, and I'm serious when I say this, with a little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm serious when I say this. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. Bobby Cox, I think, has shattered the record for ejections by a manager in Major League Baseball history. And Bobby most often did it to fire his team up. But sometimes Bobby was probably like, my knee hurts, and I'm going back to the clubhouse.
I need to put some ice on this.
So I'm going to say a word I can't say, and I'm going to go back down the steps. Kevin Schnall didn't say words he can't say, but he was warned. And then he stepped out of the dugout. And while you may say he didn't argue, he did legitimately gesture with the number 3. And look, by the way, the 3 calls that he was questioning, bad umpiring. Those weren't strikes.
No.
But you can't argue balls and strikes. So did the umpire do the right thing in throwing him out of the game by the letter of the baseball law? Yes. Yes, he did. Should the umpire have handled it better? Yes. Yes, he should have. Should Kevin Schnall have handled it better? Yes. Yes, he should have. Should Angel Campos be umpiring a game like this? In my opinion, no, he should not.
Ever again.
Also, of the 4 men that umpired yesterday, 3 of them did not umpire on Saturday. Pick a crew. Angel Campos was not one of the men that umpired on Saturday, but he umpired yesterday, and you gave him the most important position on the field. Why? Why? Who's in charge of that? Should he have been there at all? And you know he's got a history of emotional situations. Maybe not the best place for the home plate umpire on a hot day in a crucial game for one of the teams, really for both.
Yes.
But LSU could have afforded a loss. Coastal Carolina could not. It's bad all around, very bad for all involved. The umpire, the 2 coaches that got run, and the NCAA. Everybody did it wrong, in my opinion. But there is a rule in baseball, and it is the most known rule in baseball. You can't argue balls and strikes.
Yeah, if you're Kevin Schnall, then you should know better to step out than to step out of the dugout to continue arguing. I mean, look, the book is out on all the umpires, right? I mean, Coastal Carolina is one of the most detail-oriented baseball programs in the country. Their catchers are the best at framing pitches. I mean, Caden Bodine is notorious for how good he is at framing pitches. They can manipulate umpires. They know how they work. You have to know that this guy has a very short fuse and will throw you out for anything if you continue any type of discussion. Should know better than to get out of the dugout to argue that. At the same time, when I'm watching this game and you hear Carl Ravitch mention that Kevin Schnall got thrown out of the game, my first thought is, seriously?
Right.
In the first inning?
Right.
You think you've heard enough? In the first inning? Like, that part's ridiculous. There's so much game to be played. You can end the inning. You can walk over to the dugout and say, hey, coach, I know there's a lot on the line here. I know tensions are high. But if you step out of the dugout or if I hear from you again, that's a real warning.
Yes.
It's like, hey,
and it is within
one inning of the game.
It is within his discretion to have done such, and he should have. That's why I say he could
wait till the inning's over. Whenever we're changing.
He could have even said, Kevin.
Yeah.
Listen, man. Listen. I get it. I get it. Don't make me do this.
Don't make me have to do this. Because if you keep it up, I will do it.
Yeah.
I mean, how much was there really a warning? That's my thing. When watching the game, it seemed like it went from call to ejection in the span of 15, 20 seconds.
It seems as if he kind of looked at both dugouts and said, that's it, and again, that's also on him. Like, be a little more pronounced in what you're doing.
Like, if you really want to give a warning, you step out from behind home plate, and then you make something known to everybody in that moment.
Opinions are all over the place. Love to hear y'all's. 803-404-6100 phone line, Firehouse Subs text line. Chance Miller weighed in. The AD at Coastal will read his statement on the other side. Lots more to get to on the postgame show. 20 minutes after 3 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you. Postgame show rolling on. Wes Mitchell, Gamecock Central, and, of course, a regular here every day on our airwaves. Will join us in just a little bit, talking more about Carolina's big recruiting weekend that just finished up and what's next on that scene. Talking here at the beginning of the program about the controversy yesterday at the beginning of the ball game as Coastal fell to LSU. 5-3 final score. LSU wins 2 games to none. And again, let me say too, we didn't get into this, so let me say this. LSU is a very, very, very deserving national champion. They had 2 fantastic pitching performances. They did enough with the bats, especially yesterday, to kind of get that lead going and really put Coastal under some pressure. Chanticleer's got a nice shot there to make it 5-3, but really, I will say about LSU a lot of what we've said about Coastal. They weren't really troubled, even in a 1-0 game on Saturday night. They were able to keep that proverbial arm's distance. They deserve what they did. I got zero.
Caden Anderson's awesome.
Yeah, I got zero issue with LSU, and how they played ball. So they're
the better team.
Yeah, in that respect,
They're the better team.
Yeah, and had it gone to a game 3, they're still the deeper team. Listen, Coastal's really good, and they had a good season. They had a great season, but LSU is a deserving national champion. This is the statement from Chance Miller. Before I read the statement, I want to read you the tweet that he sent along with this. He said, "Proud of Coastal baseball. The 2025 season is one Teal Nation will remember for a long time. Congrats to LSU, a great team that earned this championship. However," he wrote, "on the game's highest stage, our coaches should have been there throughout, but that opportunity was taken from them." And then he sent out this. This is a statement from the school, so not necessarily directly attributed to Chance Miller. Indulge me here as I read the entire statement. It's not that long, but I'll read all of it for you. "The ejections of head coach Kevin Schnall and assistant coach Matt Schilling in the bottom of the first inning drastically altered the trajectory of a must-win game for our team. These decisions were made with an alarming level of haste, without an attempt at de-escalation, and deprived our student athletes of the leadership they have relied on throughout a historic postseason run. This is not about a single call. It's about process and professionalism. In the biggest moment of the college baseball season, our program and its student athletes deserved better. The NCAA must reevaluate how it trains, assigns, and reviews umpires in championship environments. We expect consistency, communication, and the same level of excellence from officials that we demand of our teams. Our players have represented this university, this conference, and college baseball with integrity and heart. They deserved the opportunity to compete for a national championship with their leaders and were denied that opportunity today." And again, that statement is attributed to the entire university. 100% spot on, man. I got no real problem with it. Let me say again, if you've just tuned in, listen, of all the sports that I follow, this isn't a brag or anything, but I know baseball inside and out.
That's your sport.
It is.
We all have ours.
And again, you can't argue balls and strikes. You just can't. It's
a controllable
yeah.
too. That's the frustrating thing.
Yeah.
It's a controllable part, right? Getting ejected and having that fall in the umpire's hands, you turned a controllable into an uncontrollable. And that's where there needs to be some blame on Kevin Schnall's part, because you brought forth the possibility of getting ejected into the realm of existence.
Yes. He does bear some responsibility. Again, how some people will say he bears all of it. Some will say some of it. Some will say he didn't deserve to be thrown. I've seen a lot of that was a really soft ejection. I would agree with that as well.
Yep. All those can be true.
Yeah, that's why I said that's how we open the show.
Yes.
A lot of things can be true at once. This isn't necessarily a column A or column B type situation. It's not an either or situation. There's a lot of things that mesh together that made this happen. And I don't know if it's more about Kevin Schnall stepping out of the dugout in direct relation to, again, an umpire with a known sensitivity problem. But that's part of what what the university is saying in their statement. And one of the things about statements is they are vetted. Words are chosen carefully. Words can be changed to make sure that you get your message across. And when they say that the NCAA must reevaluate how it trains, assigns, and reviews umpires is very important. And again, I think the assignment here, I'm not even sure why you couldn't just why do you need 3 new umpires yesterday? The guys on Saturday would have all become aware of personalities.
There's
moments,
a familiarity with them.
And that makes, in my opinion, Elijah, that makes for better management. Now, you might say, well, Jay, some sports it's a one-off. All right, well, when it's a one-off, that's fine. But that's one of the things about baseball. When you think about, the bigs, and in this case, the NCAA can treat it like that. You got 6 umpires. They only have 4. They don't have umpires down the lines, but, you just rotate. So, y'all know how it works. I'm not going to sit here and explain all that. You rotate. So, and if you know a guy behind the plate is trigger happy, maybe he's not your best guy. Now, again, is it on the head coach? Yes, it is. They both bear responsibility here, in my opinion. And one of the things that frustrates a lot of people is accountability. Kevin Schnall, although I got to tell you, his postgame, man, when he talked about, hey, it's not my fault, the guy that flopped, it's like, it's not my fault. I forget how he worded it. It was like, I can't help his athleticism, right? Yeah.
Or lack thereof. Yeah. Because he definitely tripped over the other umpire's foot.
That's funny as hell, man. That was so funny.
That's a block and a flop warning.
And at least he found a way to bring a little bit of levity to a very disappointing moment for him and for his team and his school. But some of the responsibility does, in my opinion, fall directly upon those who run college baseball and who run this tournament. Like I say, I think Campos should have given another opportunity. I think he should have called Kevin Schnall over or walked over to him and said, Coach, I don't want to run you, man. I've given you a warning. Listen, I'm basically doing you a solid here. I'm going to give you a second one. But he didn't do that. Instead, he looked at him, and, he did the big league, you're gone.
It was pretty demonstrative.
Oh, God. How much? The only way it could have been more, Elijah, if he, pulled his shoulder out of its socket.
Ripped his shirt off and slung it around and then did the motion.
Like Leslie Nielsen in Naked Gun when he's doing the dance behind him.
Exactly.
I mean, that's it, That's it.
Did the splits afterwards.
Right. So lots of blame, responsibility to share and go around here. But again, I will say one more time, and probably not. I'm saying it again now. That there's one rule that is more known above any other rule in the sport, and Kevin Schnall violated that rule. And so was the umpire within his rights? Yeah, you can't argue balls and strikes, man.
I think it's just mostly unfortunate that it takes away from what happened the rest of the baseball game. The story of that game became 2 Coastal Carolina coaches getting tossed in the first inning.
Right.
That became
that's the story. It is, and it will remain the story, unfortunately.
That's
now,
what most
not in Baton
remember.
Rouge.
Yeah, but outside of Baton Rouge on a national scale.
Yeah. This is going to be the game where the coaches got run in the first by by a former failed major league umpire who did make it a lot about himself. We'll line up some of y'all's comments. We do have a start bench drop to get to. We'll announce that coming up a little bit later on. I called it tempting in my show tweet. And it is. But on the other side, some recruiting with our good friend Wes Mitchell. Gamecocks had a big weekend. How'd it go? He'll tell us on the other side. Oh, on a day like this, wouldn't a pool in your own backyard really just make life not just a little better, but maybe just exponentially better? Griffin Pools and Spas is ready to make that backyard dream a family reality. You want a new pool, they can get it done for you here. All right, listen, just call Griffin Pools up or go to griffinpoolsandspas.com. Stop in and see them, steps away from the Lake Murray Dam, right there in Lexington, where they've been for many, many years. Tell them what you're looking for. Let them come out to you, see what the yard looks like. Listen, you might just want a little, like rectangle pool just to jump in and cool off on a hot day. Or maybe you and the family want like a pool that you've seen, styled like a resort hotel with a slide, a waterfall, maybe a hot tub to go along with it. Maybe you've already got a pool. Make sure it stays nice and clean. Accessories to do a whole lot more around the backyard. Again, stop in and see them in Lexington where they've always been, or go online to griffinpoolsandspas.com. And again, invite me and Elijah over. All right, 25 minutes in front of 4 o'clock. Time to talk a little recruiting here on a Monday afternoon. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips, and our good friend Wes Mitchell of Gamecock Central, and our staff here at the game, joining us in just a second after a big recruiting weekend. Have you had that, like, really hot ones sandwich yet that you and Chris talk about, or so far not jumping in on that one.
Oh yeah, I've had it. I've had it.
Is it how hot is it? I like hot. So I mean, is it like really hot?
It is. I mean, and the thing is, I don't know if you can get the thing anymore because they just switched it over to the barbecue triple stack, which is the newest limited time offer. But I did try it, and I like hot sauce, but I don't like super spicy hot sauce. But I wanted to just say I've attempted it. It is, the pickle was soaked in the hot sauce.
Oh my! I like
so
hot.
It's not just like there's some hot sauce thrown on there. Like the pickle that's on the sandwich has been soaked in the hot sauce for for months.
Yeah, I mean it's in the jar, right? Yeah, so it's there now. Okay, I got you. All right. Well,
yeah. So it was pretty hot.
Yeah.
We need to change out that commercial though. Apparently.
Yeah, I'll get you. Well, somebody will work on that. That's not my department, man. I just ask questions and show up every day. Let's talk about this recruiting weekend. Overall, really, the entire month has been, at least on the surface, Wes, rather successful. There was a sense that maybe this weekend was the most important to date. I suppose that's a subjective feeling. You kind of tell us how things are going.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is one of those things you ultimately are going to judge it in the next maybe month or so. Where do these prospects end up at? Because a lot of them will be making decisions in the next few weeks. Coming out of the visit, I think this past weekend is maybe one of the better official visit weekends that they've had in a while, just because I think they're in a good position. You look at 9 official visitors and then a 10th visitor in Landon Duckworth who came back unofficially. I don't know. They really helped themselves with maybe 8 of them in terms of exiting the trip, feeling pretty good about where they sit right now. There's always a little bit of that post-visit high, post-visit where a guy's just kind of buzzing about the place he was just at. So we'll see where things are when it levels out a little bit. But yeah, all 3 weekends have been circled to an extent, but this final weekend that just took place has definitely maybe been circled with a little bit thicker marker going into it.
Want to zero in on a couple of these guys in particular, and of course, doing the high school football show on Fridays in the fall, my boy Justin Hall. I like to focus on a lot of the in-state guys too, but one interesting one that I've been monitoring you and Chris cover, Tamarian Watkins. What is kind of your scout on him? Obviously, he comes from a football powerhouse here in the state, but what is kind of your feel on him so far?
Yeah, for one, I do think he'll end up playing his college ball in Columbia. Torian Gray's done a fantastic job there, and was an early offer for him at camp. Was really the first major offer for T-Watt, as he likes to go by. And, this is another big-bodied safety. There was some question about what his future position would be, and Northwestern really uses him all over the field. He's kind of a hybrid defender who can come down into the box, who can do some things almost like a linebacker. Some of the schools have kind of gone all in on that idea and just said, look, you're a linebacker for us. South Carolina, though, is recruiting him as kind of that big-bodied safety. But, hey, we're within this defense, you are going to play in the box at times. You're going to have to play physical, but they're pointing to, much like they are with Jazavian Currents, who's been committed for a while, pointing to the fact that they've had success with these bigger safety types. And, this guy, both him and Currents, they're just football players, great instincts. He's a great kid as well, great leader, great personality. And, it ended up being South Carolina, Texas A&M, Georgia, and Miami were kind of the 4 schools most heavily involved. But I think the Gamecocks feel pretty confident they're going to win that one.
That's a pretty good list. I don't know if you know this, Wes, but David Cloninger went to Northwestern High School. He didn't talk about it much, but it's just a little.
I know that.
Let's get to some others before we'll bring DC in a little bit later
before he gives us a call.
Yeah, no, Desmond Green. You write that you say here he would challenge anyone in the country for highest number of visits to Columbia in this cycle. So familiarity, good. Decision not yet made. What more can Carolina do, or is this just a matter of what other schools will be attempting to do?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to put it, Jay. Like, ultimately, he has been very familiar with South Carolina. So I don't know if there's much else they could do in terms of just, hey, here's something new. Here's a new tidbit of information you should know. I don't think there was anything like that. I do think he's one, whether he ends up at South Carolina, which right now I think it's going to be Florida, or whether it ends up being Florida, I think that's one we'll probably be more comfortable sharing exactly why and how it played out after the fact once he has made his decision known. Again, I tend to think it's Florida. There was just enough this weekend for us to kind of pause and say, well, maybe he will end up at South Carolina. But the thought has been for a while that first it was that it was going to be Georgia, and then was that it was going to be Florida. And I will say this, Florida has a huge, I would say almost desperate need for offensive linemen in this class, and they have heavily prioritized him. And I do think that has made a difference to this point.
6'4", 350, and he still has a year of high school left to play. Is he the kind of guy that needs a little more seasoning once he gets to college, Wes, or could he come in and play right away?
Yeah, I mean, I'll never say – I think I wouldn't have told you Shed Surratt was going to be ready to come in and play right away, and I think he's going to play as a true freshman for Carolina this year. So I never say never, but I would say on the surface, yeah, he's a guy who's going to want to come in and maybe reshape and develop a little bit before he'd be ready. Obviously, it's big enough, though.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely big enough to play right now. But, Wes, you talk to a lot of these guys that are going on these visits, the people around them, too. And there's clearly a lot of intrigue with this program right now. And it seems like a lot of these visits go really well. But what's maybe one of the common themes that you're getting back when you're talking to either the players or their families or high school coaches that really impresses them whenever they actually get to come to campus and get to experience everything that this program has to offer?
Yeah, and I'm trying to say it to where it doesn't just sound like a big cliche. But it's funny. I was talking to a high school coach who was actually on campus with one of the official visitors and has kind of been involved in his recruitment, has no dog in the fight whatsoever in terms of schools or where his player may go. And he was just like, man, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that's on campus this weekend that didn't, in some way want to come to South Carolina just because, the coaches, including Beamer, but really extending to the staff, made it such a genuine weekend. It was just kind of a weekend of, you're learning stuff. Yeah, you're being recruited, but really the weekends are more about getting to know each other. Beamer's talked about this. They're kind of, the school is being judged by the player, but the coaches are learning information about these players as well and who do I want in my program. And so really just again, culture just gets thrown out so much. We maybe need a better word for it, but just the overall genuine vibe that these guys are talking about. And the coach was like, look, I know ultimately NIL is going to be a factor for almost any kid out there these days. So it's a little bit different than it once was in terms of, a guy may even like a school better, but he picks a different school for other reasons. But I just think there's a huge comfort level. They have fine-tuned these official visit weekends as well in terms of they're jam-packed. There's always something to do. They're having fun. They're making pizzas. They're it's just like a fun environment right now, I think.
Wes, inside of 30 seconds, just real quick, what's next? Dead period starts when? When does the drama pick back up?
Yeah, so dead period is already in play. It's a dead period right now, but dead period is the most poorly named phrase in all of football. There's still a lot going on. Coaches can still talk to the players over the phone, and so I imagine the drama is coming very soon because these players, a lot of them will be making their announcements.
Good stuff as always, sir. We appreciate you. Bring us a sandwich sometime soon, all right?
All right, sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
That's Wes Mitchell. Wes Mitchell, GC, GamecockCentral.com, and here every morning on the Takeover Hour. Lots more to do on the Postgame Show. 9 minutes in front of 4 o'clock on this Monday afternoon. Welcome back in. Jay Phillips, Elijah Campbell with you on the Postgame Show. Thanks, as always, to our good friend Wes Mitchell for joining us here on this Monday. And, again, it's funny. Wes says dead period, big misnomer. Because you can talk. They can't visit.
I guess the dead in dead period is maybe more like The Walking Dead,
Ooh.
Where you're still active.
Don't
but
get
you're
Dave
not
started on that, man.
He's a big Walking Dead guy.
Dave likes they have the show after The Walking Dead.
Talking Dead.
Yeah. Dave watches that.
And my brother, man, when that show first started,
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know, early high school, and it aired, every Sunday.
Yeah.
Whenever, it was in season. And both my mom and my brother would sit there. They would watch the episode and watch Talking Dead.
I know how huge it is. And one of my daughters asked me, like, Dad, do you like The Walking Dead? I was like, I get what it's all about and why people probably do like it. I just, I'm not into the zombie thing. There's a lot of, I remember, this country's entertainment cycle had a lot of zombie stuff for a while.
It's its own subgenre of show and film.
And help me out.
South Korea makes a lot of really good stuff.
What was the movie with Woody Harrelson?
Oh,
Zombieland?
Zombieland, yes. I almost said Adventureland.
Haney insisted that I watch that. And so I won't give it away, but he was like, if nothing else, you just have to watch it for one of the cameos. And I was like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. But other than that, I was like, yeah, but it's just a zombie movie. It's still, they're just, that's just how I feel.
Not my favorite.
I'm not ragging on it. Again, if you like it, you like it.
I enjoy some of them.
Yeah. If you like it, that's fine. I'm not here to judge you.
I'm very lukewarm on the genre itself.
We have a start bench drop today. Sorry that it's taken us longer to get to it, but with the seriousness of the College World Series situation, Elijah and I just didn't want to throw that in there. Like
the College World seriousness.
Yeah. Ooh, see what you did there. Nice.
I like that.
So we're going to start bench drop these fantastic fruit-themed desserts, alphabetical order here. And this, by the way, the committee dropped a couple before deciding on these.
This was workshop.
This was actually a pretty big committee meeting. Start, bench, drop, banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. All very, very popular here across the South, really in a lot of places. But, peach cobbler this time of year in the South. I mean, banana pudding's always very popular. Key lime pie, I love key lime. I love all of these. And, again, rest in peace, Mom. But my mother, who, again, was an amazing cook, owned a restaurant, owned a catering business, wrote 2 cookbooks. I'm just going to tell you, Elijah Campbell, my mother could, I don't know what the kids would say these days, but my mom could make all 3 of these. I think the kids they're bussing. They slap.
I could feel the hesitancy in your voice with bussing. You said slap with a lot more confidence.
Yeah. But my mom can make all 3 of those. Not gonna lie, kind of miss that. Miss a lot of things about my mom, but mom's desserts, man. So start
that
bench
along
drop
with the swag and the merch.
That's right. That's fire. Banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. And peach cobbler with some peaches from over in Gilbert right about now. Swag really cool. And the merch. It's fire. Tell you a lot about Cato's Power Equipment, and I've said too, one of the great things about Ben and Matt, that, the entire crew at Cato's, and really the family, because they've owned the business now for more than 40 years here in Columbia, but they treat you like family too. And Ben wanted me to remind y'all that a lot of times, especially in weather like this, they'll close the shop in the afternoon, and it's almost a symbolic thing, Ben told me, to make sure that you are not out there in this kind of heat overexerting yourself. All right. They want to make sure that you can do these things comfortably, but when it's 100 degrees, you don't really need to be out there doing that kind of thing. So they want you to be really careful. When you need them, they're there for you. Certainly if you need service, you need something brand new, again, from Toro, Gravely, Steel, they've got it done for you, but they'll treat you like family. That's why I love going in there. the things I've gotten to make my yard work easier. But Ben's right. When it's 100 degrees, do yourself a favor. Just take that job on in the morning. Go see them, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, Cato's Power Equipment. Four o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Second hour of the Postgame Show coming at you from the Herndon Chevy Studios in downtown Columbia, South Carolina. It's hot in the capital city. I got 96 in downtown.
It says 94 here in the studio, but the Elijah Heat Index has it as 1,000.
Yeah. I don't know where.
Crazy.
I'm looking at my watch. I guess my watch is pulling this from like the nearest cell tower. I don't know
Probably.
how that works.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now, my car always reads things hotter. Like,
Yeah, so
10
does mine. I think
degrees.
it's because your car's hot, too.
Yeah.
right?
Like Saturday, I got in the car at around 3:30, and I think it was reading like 106.
Well, I like it on days when it's super hot and like your car might go to like 110, and then you drive for a minute and you wait to see how long it actually
Then it eventually corrects itself. Yeah.
We've already got one from Randy here, real quick. He says this is the easiest start bench drop yet. Randy will start banana pudding. He says can never go wrong. Bench peach cobbler, solid, but falls short in comparison to banana pudding. Drop key lime pie, worst of the three. Lemon meringue is far superior. Thank you, Randy. I don't have mine yet, and it is going to be difficult to drop one of these. I know it's weird because they're like first cousins, but I've never really been a big fan of most lemon desserts. I don't like hate them, but again, my mother, may she rest in peace. Some people, my mom had 2 lemon desserts that people would just rave over. One was a lemon chess pie, which is kind of
Oh man, I love
a chess
pie.
yeah.
Oh, I bet
know.
that's amazing.
Now she could make a regular chess pie.
Yeah.
And then you make a lemon chess pie. And it's kind of a creamy pie. It's good. But the lemon one, And then my mom did make these like lemon squares. It's sort of like a
I love lemon squares.
yeah, it's like the thickness kind of a brownie, but it's obviously not chocolate.
Yeah, consistency is very similar, but still a little more.
It's cakey, but lemony, and then she would dust it with sugar, powdered sugar or stuff, and things like that.
Ooh,
and they were good, but like I said, one time I was like, Mom, could you like alter the lemon square recipe and use lime juice? She's like, yeah, I think I probably could. And she did that once for me. I forget how old I was. I mean, I was probably like in high school or college or something. And I was like, these are awesome. I think I said they were fire.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure high school Jay Phillips said that was gas. Bussin'. Respectfully.
Right.
That's exactly what came out of your mouth. You probably sounded just like this.
These swag and the merch, it's fire. These slap. But they were great. And it was kind of a one-off. I just like lime juice more. I don't know if that makes me weird, but
No, I think, if I had to pick, if I could have one type of dessert, one citrusy dessert for anything, not just like key lime pie or lemon squares or anything, I think I would lean lime. I see where you're coming from. I'm not full on team lime over
if
lime.
now if you said to me you could have one, and again, I don't know that I don't know where key lime is going to fall for me today on Start Bench Drop. But if you said, citrusy dessert, for me, I'm choosing key lime pie 10 out of 10. I promise. There's nothing, to me, nothing like that compares. Like, I love orange juice, and I don't mind oranges and stuff, but I mean, there's not a lot of, I like orange sherbet maybe, but that's not really. It's just kind of like it's almost like it's got orange crush or something in it.
Right.
I don't know what that is. It's not really oranges, is it?
I don't think so.
Maybe
it's like
if you do
artificial orange flavoring.
Yeah, like there's a thing they make down at Disney World. It's like frozen, like kind of like an icy or a slushy. It's orange juice and like mixed with vanilla ice cream. That thing's the bomb. I think they call it Citrus Swirl at Disney World. And then they make one with pineapple, too.
Oh, that
Dole Whip. I know that's called the Dole Whip because the Dole people, But, that thing's all right, man. But, yeah, I would go key lime pie.
So far, we have a pretty dominant
I think we know what's going to win.
banana pudding starting, benching peach cobbler, and dropping key lime pie makes up 4 of the 7 entries so far.
We all hit us up. Start, bench, drop, banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. I don't want to say what the other ones were because maybe that taints the jury pool too. So these are the ones we came up with.
Jury pool shall not be tainted. That's like the first rule of the show.
That's right. But yeah, like when Mom used to go and get like Lexington County peaches when they were ready to be picked, and I remember. My aunt and uncle had a lake house not too far from Gilbert, I guess, or somewhere over that way. Somewhere in Lexington County when I was growing up. I was a little kid. And I remember they would get like literal peach baskets full, right? And we'd go to their lake house and they'd set up like 2 of those big ass ice cream churns and just start making peach ice cream. And you just sit there and it's still like half runny.
Oh, that's when it's
and you're just like going like Homer Simpson in that thing, man. God, that stuff is so good. Oh, I loved it. I made some a couple years ago. It was good.
That sounds really good.
They brought me back to that, but it wasn't the same because we weren't like out on the screen porch just with 2 ice cream churns going. You hear the ice and the rock salt. And it's like, all right, this batch is ready. Who's up? And I'm like, yep.
It's
come
me.
on.
I'm up. Yes.
And just pour it in. I love that stuff.
Ready for more. Having a steady stream of it, too.
A lot of basketball to get to in this hour. Elijah was down at Lamont Paris's press conference, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about last night. We kind of joked. A lot of people said, hey, NBA Finals take so long. Why not just have, once you get to the actual final, just have a one-off? But we did get a one-off last night in Oklahoma City, and for a little bit, it was actually competitive. I know I'm far from alone, and Elijah, you probably felt the same way. We haven't discussed this specific thing yet, and I don't mean to sound morbid. I just feel like a lot of us were waiting for Tyrese Halliburton to get hurt. I felt like, I really did. I just felt like, after he didn't get hurt in Game 6, and he played well, and they, again, they were just dominant. I guess I don't know what OKC was doing the other night. But I was just like, oh, he's going to get hurt. Oh, he's going to get hurt, and then he did. And would Oklahoma City have won with a full strength, not even close to aching and ailing Tyrese Halliburton? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
They were the best team in the NBA all year.
Yeah, I think they still would have.
They were literally the best team in the league. But, we mentioned it. I'm not trying to equate the two, but we mentioned that for a lot of the country, LSU winning yesterday might become secondary in the long-term story relative to, oh yeah, that's the game where the Coastal coaches got run in the first inning. That'll be the story. Yes, congratulations to LSU. Now last night, the story, is, man, Tyrese Halliburton. Did y'all remember when he went down, he was just slamming the floor with his fist? Oh yeah, by the way, that was the game that Oklahoma City won a title. Like that, and I'm not trying to be that's oversimplifying it, but that will be an overarching theme and a big part of the story. Was expound further not only on last night's game, but on what it looks like his recovery time is. Because here's a guy who was just peaking, and now what?
Yeah, that's the brutal part too. You knew as soon as he went down, he knew what happened. He knew what happened. When the trainer went out there, you could read his lips, and he's saying, I did it. He knew. And he was having an incredible game up to that point. He only played 7 minutes, but he had 9 points.
Right.
And he hit 3 3-pointers.
Right.
Nobody on the Indiana Pacers team hit 3 3-pointers in that game. He did it in a 7-minute stretch. And they got a 4-point lead at one point. Before that, and the Thunder were making a run, and it was 16-16 whenever he fell, and the Thunder got a fast break bucket. But it's one of those things, too. It's unfortunate that the Thunder championship can't be appreciated in its entirety because people are always going to bring up the what if. And that's going to be one of the biggest what ifs in NBA history if Tyrese Halliburton plays that game. The way he's played the entire playoffs, look, he is the biggest Grim Reaper to a lead I think we've seen in the NBA in a long time, right? Like, that's a great 20-point lead you have there. It'd be a shame if something were to happen to it. And Tyrese Bucks in the last minute of a game to clinch that one. Or the Cleveland Cavaliers to take game 2, I think it was, on the road to steal the first 2 on the road, where they came back down 7 in the last minute. He hit a shot in the final seconds in that one. We remember the shot he hit against New York at Madison Square Garden in game 1. And helped engineer that comeback too. And then we saw what he did in game 1 of this series. Like, he was on an otherworldly crunch time run. And it looked like he was on his way to having one of the best games of his career. And granted, this is a guy that in the last series against New York did have a 35-point, 15-assist, triple-double, with 0 turnovers.
Right.
Like, he's got that in him. And it looked like we might have been on our way to a similar type of performance where one guy was going to change the course of the game. And as soon as he goes down, I didn't even believe in the moment when he went down that it was over. Because the Pacers are one of those teams where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. They've been that way all year long. They have a really good, deep team. And I kind of in the back of my head was thinking if Andrew Nembhard can knock a couple shots on the outside, if he's able to get into the paint and get other guys involved, if McConnell's really good off the dribble and they can create, downhill drives for Pascal Siakam and they can rebound well enough with 3.5 quarters in a game, I think they could have pulled it out. But they did the thing where they just turned the ball over way too many times, and Tyrese Halliburton is really good at taking care of the ball.
Yep.
And that was ultimately the difference in the game. They had 21 turnovers by the time we were early in the fourth quarter, and a lot of those turnovers turned into buckets, or at least turned into opportunities for the Thunder. And when you turn the ball over 21 times against that defense, you have to be borderline perfect in the times that you do get shots off. Like, It's great that TJ McConnell scored 12 straight points for the Indiana Pacers. It's also not great when he's the only one getting shots, right? And then eventually he's going to miss them. Like, TJ McConnell is not Michael Jordan. Like, he's not going to do that for an entire game. So they were never able to get back in it to where they can seriously contest after that third quarter run for Oklahoma City. And if you look at Indiana right now, it's a crushing loss because that cost you Game 7. It's going to cost him all of next year, too. He's not playing next year. And there's a really good chance he might miss a month to start the 26-27 season. I mean, this is one of those things when Kevin Durant tore his Achilles against the Raptors in 19, he missed the entire next season, and he missed a good chunk at the beginning of the season the following year. It was basically a 1 year and then 1 month of games type deal before he was able to come back. And this is one of those things, too, like, thankfully, in our advances in modern technology, NBA players have been able to recover from Achilles tears better than they have historically. I think we can think of guys like Sean Marion and Kobe Bryant who tore their Achilles and they were never the same after that. And he's young enough to where he can bounce back from it. He's only 25 years old. So if he rehabs it well, he can come back and play at the same level that he was before this injury. But it also kind of brings up this point, too. If you're the Indiana Pacers, you really did, before this game, have a serious conundrum as to whether to play him and risk this injury or not, because now you're without your best player for an entire season.
I don't think there are many, but there are probably some who question his playing last night, and so I get it. And I think you made a great point when you and I were talking earlier this morning. Look, you can say as a how old is he? Hang on, let me
25.
20. Yeah, okay. You can say as a 25-year-old on a team that's there, oh, we'll be back, but you don't know that.
There's no guarantee. At Oklahoma City in 2011 or 2012, when they went to the finals, they could easily have said, "Yep, tough series, fellas, but we'll be back."
Yeah,
they never went back.
Yeah, till now.
Until now, but they didn't as
right?
as they were constructed.
That's right, and so I get it. I don't have a problem with it. I feel for him, but he was not made to go out there, you know. And you know, Rick Carlisle has talked about that, and Tyrese talked about it again before the game. And eventually, Tyrese will come out and tell us, you know. But he already told us, you know, in the last week. And again, if I want to play,
he said, if I can walk, I'm playing.
Yeah, and that's what I do. So I get it, but you know, like you say, and I don't know. I'm no doctor. When you told me, hey, he's probably out like 16 months, I was like, oh my goodness.
It's a long rehab process.
That's rough, man.
Even Klay Thompson, he tore his Achilles after coming back from an ACL tear. And not only did he miss that next year, he didn't show back up for the year following until right around Christmas.
Yeah. So that's a tough one for them. But, you know, congrats to OKC. I mean, they won, 60-something? How many games in the regular season?
68.
Oof. That's hard to do, man. Lots more to do here. We're going to talk some Gamecock hoops. Lamont Paris speaking today. It's the Postgame Show. 20 minutes after 4 o'clock on this Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you. It's the postgame show. Start, bench, drop. A lot of you chiming in on this one. Start, bench, drop, banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. We present these as best we can in either alphabetical order or, in the case of when they are events, chronological order, so as not to persuade you to pick one over another in any
That's
way.
rule 1 of start, bench, drop. Thou shalt not taint the jury.
That's right. We don't want to do that. Lamont Paris had a little summertime presser today. Elijah was down there. I guess DC was down there, and others in the group. Not a great year last year. What's the level of, I don't want to say excitement, but what are the prospects feeling like? How is this another new look team? That's the rule in college basketball.
Mm-hmm. Especially for this one, too. I mean, and when you lose your best player to the NBA draft, that also doesn't help things. And I think they feel confident about the group they got. They definitely tried to recruit more so for fit and scheme fit, it sounds like. I mean, I personally asked him about when I had my turn for a question. I was interested about, what he sees in someone like Mike Shariamps, the guy they got from Utah who's, 6'7", 6'8", and is really kind of played a playmaker role at Utah. And Lamont seemed to really like him as a playmaker and a decision maker. He liked his basketball instincts. And I think one of the big themes really was getting these guys all on the same page. You don't have the international tour that really helped the team from 2 years ago gel ahead of schedule, really. Lamont, even that season, talked a lot about how that time, internationally and playing games and getting to do just stuff together as a team kind of helped the team chemistry part, even though there were so many new faces. You don't have that this year. You can only do that once every 4 years, but they're trying to get everybody as familiar and try to build that team chemistry as organically as possible as we head into what's an incredibly crucial season for this program to try to bounce back from what happened last year.
Look, obviously it's June 23rd, so we're not sitting here talking, hey, what's the starting five look like? What's your rotation, off the bench going to be like? But did you get an idea that certain guys were coming, as you mentioned, Shariamps or some others, that they might have had an idea of their usage, whether they're starting five or off the bench before they got to Columbia? Is there at least a kind of a mold in place, perhaps?
Somewhat, yeah. I think Eli Ellis is going to get the green light to be able to take a lot of shots. I think Lamont today really talked a lot about how he is one of those guys that doesn't have to force it to get his shot. And sometimes even if the flow of the offense doesn't go their way, Eli Ellis can get a shot up and get a clean look. I think he's going to be asked to do a lot of the offensive facilitation for this team. That's a lot for a freshman, but he loves his competitiveness. I think, the first thing he said today was Eli he is ultra competitive, and that's putting it, like an understatement. It's basically an understatement how competitive the guy is. But I think we're going to see a whole lot of him. We're going to see a lot of Michi playing the point, and that was something he said, to David Cloninger back in Greenville not too long ago, that we're going to see a lot of Michi, but Michi's kind of having a back issue right now, and that's keeping him out of some of these workouts. And right now it does kind of feel like the development of a couple players is crucial. Getting Jordan Butler to be more of an all-around center is going to be crucial, especially since Krista Esendoku isn't here yet.
Right.
And it might
now,
be...
Yes, let me pause you there.
Yes.
Because he's international, and we know that right now with the government situation being what it is, it's harder for some. Is that what the issue
is? Yep. Okay. That is what it is. It's not an eligibility issue.
Okay.
They have his eligibility is cleared. He's eligible to play. He said it's an international.
And he's French. I'm not trying to play one nation over another, but I know there have been some issues, with the administration with certain countries, having players banned and things like that. I know France is not on that list.
Right, exactly. So I expect that to be cleared personally. That's an Elijah Campbell opinion. But I expect him to be able to play next year for South Carolina. But he mentioned Cam too.
The EBPI, Elijah Basketball Politics Index.
That's right. The EBPI is it's vast in its capabilities.
That's right.
But the biggest thing is really right now with this team is getting those guys to gel and to be able to carve out roles for players and them understanding what those roles are and then developing some of the guys that you need to be a little further on ahead of schedule, guys like Jordan Butler and Cam Scott, to make sure that they're able to help you more this year than they were last year. Obviously, you don't want them to have to carry a large load offensively or defensively, but you want them to be able to come into the game and help you out immensely.
Cam Scott, obviously a big offseason storyline. So, he decided to stay. There were, obviously waivers back and forth, and he wants to be here. Did Lamont shed light on their conversations? I think maybe that more than anything else might be what's, at least this time of year, kind of top of mind. What was that give and take like?
Yeah, I mean, really, he kind of went on for a little bit when it came to Cam Scott about he could be, he's not where he needs to be right now, but he can be there tomorrow. He can be there when the season starts. I think there's still a progression of what he wants from Cam, and I think a lot of that is still on the defensive side of the ball. But I think once he's able to trust him on that side, I think then we'll see him unleashed more offensively. But I think really the gist was he's not there yet, but he still can be. His timeline is different than everybody else's, but he's still a believer in what his talents are. Follow
me here when I ask you this question, because it's one of those great old proverbial questions of chicken or the egg. The defense needs to come along. We knew that last year. We know that today. We'll know that in October and November. How far does it need to go? What are we? Do you have an idea of what defensive improvement looks like? A, and then B, how can it really be measured until maybe you do have a few games under your belt, even with secret scrimmages and stuff?
I think really the big thing, and this is just my opinion, except he didn't really elaborate too much on that side of it today, was I think he just needs to be a better on-ball defender because anything else can be corrected outside of that. You can teach somebody scheme, and I don't think Cam's not playing because he's not understanding the scheme. I think he understands that. Cam's got a really good basketball IQ. He's got a good feel for the game. I think it's sometimes if you're out on an island guarding somebody, you have to be able to chest the ball, and that's a core defensive principle for Lamont Parent's coach teams. Like, there's a reason he doesn't like to switch on ball screens. A lot of coaches do. Some coaches will switch everything, right? Like Houston, for example, switches everything because they have the length and athleticism to do so, and they can have anybody at any position guard somebody on the perimeter one-on-one and still be able to stay in front of the ball and keep the ball handler out of the paint. I think Cam, if he can get to where he can stay in front of somebody, he can fight over screens and still stay in front of the ball handler and not have to have the defense get into all of their secondary rotations, everything else will kind of fall in place at that point. I think that's kind of for this team and the way Lamont runs his defense. I think the fundamental part of playing defense in this system is being really good at keeping the ball in front of you and keeping your chest in front of the ball.
A little more from Elijah on what Coach Paris had to say, and a bunch of you hitting us with start, bench, drop. You can start, bench, drop, banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. Get into that and so much more as the postgame show rolls on. Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union could be the best place for you to get your next set of wheels financed. If there's a new car, truck, or anything else like that in your future, stop by and see the folks at Palmetto Citizens because they can definitely save you money over financing with the big banks or certainly with the dealers. Right now, they offer the same low rates on all new to 21 models. Fantastic options for older vehicles as well, maybe for that young new driver in your family. Many plans come with no payments for up to 90 days. And at Palmetto Citizens, they can finance over 100% of the retail or purchase price on new to 21 models. And they've got some fantastic coverage and insurance options dealerships simply can't beat. You can go online right now to palmettocitizens.org and actually do some side-by-side comparing with other lenders and really find out how much you can save. Or you can stop in and talk with them at any of their 14 convenient Midlands locations. My wife and I are members. We love them. Think you will too. Check them out right now. palmettocitizens.org.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with a few accidents to get to you that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon, starting with one on Farrow Road at Highway 555 at Killigan Road, and the other one just reported on I-26 westbound at Augusta Road near Exit 111. So thankfully, those are the only two accidents to report to you today. So Wetzel's Automotive, lastly, wants me to remind you that today is National Hydration Day, and it is currently 95 degrees outside, so it's pretty appropriate to drink as much water as humanly possible.
Talking some off-season hoops, at least for around Carolina basketball. Of course, the season officially ending in the NBA last night as Oklahoma City won the title. Was that the biggest news of the weekend in the association, though? Maybe not.
And there's some news within that news that actually may become local news.
Uh-oh. Should you share that now?
I would absolutely love to share that now.
By the way, you mentioned Wetzel's tells us that it's National Hydration Day, and then you mentioned drink as much water as possible.
Stay hydrated.
Is National Hydration Day specific as to what type of liquid you should hydrate with? Like if I wanted to have something else, would that be okay?
Well, it depends. What are you thinking? Because there are some liquids that you can drink that I know we both enjoy that actually dehydrate you.
That's unfortunate.
And that would be a little counterintuitive on National Hydration Day.
All right, so then never mind then.
But if you want to find out the side effects of dehydration.
I've actually found out before.
If you've just been curious and you want to find out how your body works. In
One day,
ways,
this was many, many moons ago. We were at a concert in the summer. And, you have the youthful bravado. The show hadn't started yet. You're pre-gaming, as the kids say.
It's fire.
And all of a sudden, I was like, whoa. This I hadn't even had that much, like, in a relative sense.
You just had enough.
And it was like, seriously, it was like a day like this. And it was a show up in Charlotte. I honestly can't remember if it was the Almonds. I think it might have been an Allman Brothers show. But then all I did was just guzzle a bottle of water, and I felt great.
Felt great. It's amazing how fast it
balanced me right back. I didn't need to sit down for a minute. So Mike Yuba's mixing a water thing, like, it's real. It works.
Science. Yeah, it's backed by science.
This was I do remember that. Like I were like, whoa, hold on here. This ain't how I'm supposed to feel right this second.
Plants have it done right. They need a lot of water to grow, and we need a lot of water to stay alive. If you ever seen Idiocracy, where people are...
I have not.
People are, in this...
It sounds like my kind of movie.
Dystopian, future. People are spraying crops with what is essentially Gatorade. And they're like, well, it has electrolytes. Because those companies have gotten people to just buy up enough of it because they've been telling them electrolytes is what's going to make the crops grow. And Luke Wilson says, no, you need to use water. And it's just like this groundbreaking thing. So, yes, I mean, you can drink things with electrolytes, but it's hard to beat water.
It works. It works. All right. So, KD traded for, did I see like a bag of balls and some towels and some draft picks?
Well, not cap relief, that's for sure. Because
is this a good trade?
For the Rockets, yes. Absolutely. It's a fantastic trade.
So
because they're a team that can absolutely win right now.
Phoenix gets Jalen Green, who makes how much money?
A lot. Let me go ahead and get
Dylan Brooks, who also makes money. This year's number 10 pick, so what the draft is next week, right? No, when's the draft?
It's like Thursday.
Yeah, this
Thursday.
Yeah. And 5 future second-round picks.
The second-round picks or whatever.
Now, here I have a question, Elijah Campbell, because you just mentioned the draft is in a few days. And yet, according to Shams Charania, ESPN, The trade, he says, the trade can be formally completed when the new league year begins July 6th. So will this be a draft pick that, like, Phoenix will be instructed to make?
Phoenix will
Or
make the pick.
Houston will make for Phoenix?
Yep, they'll be instructed to make the pick, and the number 10 overall pick will be wearing a Houston Rockets cap, but they will not be playing for the Houston Rockets.
Okay, gotcha.
Jalen Green is expected, his cap hit for the 25-26 season will be $33,333,000. $1,000, 300. Yeah, 333.
Gotcha.
So many threes, I can't even read it. My brain's broken. But $33 million is what he is going to be owed. But even then,
And Dylan Brooks makes how much?
Dylan Brooks. I mean, he was an all-season.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Well, I got Spot Track pulled up.
Okay.
This is perfect to be put up on the spot. But Dylan Brooks, this year, his salary cap's going to be a smidge over $21 million.
Good Lord. But now KD makes that combined.
Yes, I mean he's a supermax kind of player, so he is scheduled to make next season with his contract that I think he signed with Phoenix as an extension. His cap hit's gonna be 54.
All right, he's 37. This helps Phoenix go from a team that's going to pick 10th, so a lottery team, to a team that should now be expected to.
Well, Houston got that pick via trade as well because they
where were they last year?
They were the 2 seed in the Western
that's right.
Conference.
They were.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They had a really solid season.
But they're kind of like LA. They're like, oh yeah, you were.
But they played Golden State and got beat.
Yeah, and you were. Yeah, they were sort of an afterthought.
They got Steph Curried.
Right. Okay.
I think it helps.
Okay.
I mean, I can see them in the Western Conference Finals. They have a go-to scorer now, and really, Jalen Green was at times their go-to scorer, and there's a lot of inconsistency there. I think that helps.
Well, he's great, but I don't know. I guess they need some other things.
Yeah, that still.
If you want to win the title.
But defensively, they're
the
really
Lakers
good.
are now going to get better. OKC just won. Denver won't stand pat. Golden State, that'll be an interesting offseason. Yeah, and I just feel like the Rockets have I don't want to say always because, I mean, obviously back in the day they won titles. But they just feel like a regular season team, man. And I think they might have done that again this year.
Yeah, I mean, dating back to the Harden years.
Yeah, when D'Antoni was there. And
Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming. I don't think they ever won a playoff series.
They were a good regular season team.
Yeah. And
that's fine.
Yeah,
you could get paid.
They'll be a good regular season team again this year. I think Kevin Durant helps. But what makes this potentially a local story is that when Lamont Paris was asked about Colin Murray Boyles and what he's going to bring to an NBA draft franchise, he was alluding to a conversation that he had with an NBA team. He said, this NBA team called me and said, we're thinking about trading up into Colin's range, the range that most people expect Colin to be drafted in. So they were getting more intel, and then Lamont joked that I should get some of Colin's salary because I've been talking him up. Yeah. But he then, at the very end of that, without revealing who it was, says, and they did trade into it. So clearly, the Phoenix Suns have interest in Colin Murray Boyles. And if you go on ESPN.com's latest NBA mock draft today, you'll see that Jonathan Givony has the Suns taking Colin Murray Boyles with the 10th overall pick. Right. So that trade can maybe become local news if that comes to fruition.
Interesting. And you know what? I mean this in a good and funny way at the same time. People are talking about his, lack of shooting prowess at this point in his life. It can get better, obviously, with time and technique and work. But Devin Booker doesn't like to share the ball anyway.
Devin Booker might be getting a lot of catch and shoots from Colin.
Yeah.
If that ends up being the case.
Yeah. Devin Booker likes to shoot.
He does.
Yeah.
He loves to shoot the basketball, and he will shoot the basketball.
That
would alleviate any scoring burden. I think we've all kind of come to the consensus that if you draft Colin Murray Boyles and you want him to score 20 points per game right off the bat, you're probably not drafting him for the right reasons. But if you're drafting him to be a connector on offense and be a guy that's going to instantly make you better on the defensive side of the floor, then you've drafted him for the right reasons. And you can get him to fit if you have maybe a space-eating, shooter, like a 5-man that can stretch the floor a little bit. And you have guys that are really good at running off screens and running, or cutting to the basket. Devin Booker does do that really well too. I don't know what Bradley Beal is anymore. He's just kind of there when he plays. He's collecting a check. but
A big one.
a very big one. He's collecting a very large check, not even one of those like novelty ones. It is a check that is going to give him a lot of money. But the Phoenix
I
Suns.
hope the Ishbia brothers are doing a lot of mortgages these days, man.
Well, they're certainly not doing a good job at running a basketball team because they gave up their entire future for Kevin Durant and all their role players, and it didn't turn out very well. They didn't make the play-in. They were bad.
See. Start, bench, drop, banana pudding, key lime pie, peach cobbler. Again, I'm giving you those in alphabetical order. Are you tallying these up?
I am.
All right, here we go. Steven, start, banana pudding.
Okay.
Bench, peach cobbler. Drop, key lime pie.
That is our most popular order. So
Here's someone that just says J with a letter, so that's what I'm going to call you. Start, banana pudding, bench, peach cobbler, drop, key lime pie.
again, wow, this is dominant. A dominant run for
Franklin throws a big curveball. Start, peach cobbler, drop, or excuse me, start, peach cobbler, bench, key lime pie, drop, banana pudding. Trip, start, key lime pie,
Okay.
bench, peach cobbler, drop, banana pudding.
He's the second one to say so.
Wow. Margaret says, start, key lime pie, bench, peach cobbler, drop, banana pudding.
She's the third one to say that.
This person just asked who's making them, all the difference in the world. Hey, I told you.
Also, fair point.
Yeah.
Fair-
Again, my mother, rest in peace, made all three amazingly well. Shar says start peach cobbler, bench banana pudding, drop key lime pie.
She's the third one to say so.
Our boy Cornbread Cowboy hits us. Thank you, Ori. Too hot for peach cobbler, he says. So that's
Ice cream can cool it down.
Well, here's the thing. It's
You can
not
have
though
ice
because peach cobbler. I know you want to bake it, but fresh peaches, man. It's
I
peach
love peach.
season.
Yeah.
Now, again, peach ice cream. So he says drop peach cobbler. So he's starting key lime pie, and he's got banana pudding on the bench. On the pine, he said.
On the pine. He's the first person with that order.
So there you go. I get it. It is hot. All right, we'll have a few more of these. Y'all hit us up, 803-404-6100, or hit me on Twitter if you want to, and it'll be a little J or nay on the other side. All right, welcome back in. Postgame Show rolling on. Coming up top of the hour, headlines of the day. More on our thoughts next hour as well on the College World Series, both LSU's victory and the controversy early in Game 2 yesterday afternoon.
Everybody was really cool with how everything went down.
Yeah. No, it's all good. All right, the start bench drop is just rolling today.
It is a lot of text line submissions I've tallied up so far.
All right, let me give you a couple more to add, and then you can give us some numbers. All right, can we do that?
Yes.
I'll let you. You ready? All right, here we go.
Let's do it.
Robert, start banana pudding, bench peach cobbler, cut key lime pie. Brandon says start banana pudding, bench key lime pie, cut peach cobbler. John says start banana pudding, bench key lime pie, drop peach cobbler. Will says start peach cobbler, bench banana pudding, drop key lime pie. So, and I think, yeah, we're caught up.
We actually have a lot of balance right now. So far, 9 are starting banana pudding.
Oh, wait, we're not caught up. Sorry, I got more coming in. Sorry.
You lied to me.
I'm sorry. Well, you want to tell me some more? Man, oh, wow. Okay, I just saw a whole new batch.
Okay,
My
we'll
bad.
get to those. We'll get to those next
we'll
hour.
get to it.
This is like halftime right
Yeah, we'll
now.
get to them.
So the halftime lead, 9 submissions for starting banana pudding,
Okay.
benching peach cobbler, dropping key lime pie. 5, and then there's
That,
2
in that
with
order, so
5.
there's 9 of that order.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
There's 2 with 5, both starting peach cobbler, and then different variations of
Okay.
benching banana pudding and key lime pie.
Okay.
So 5 each for that.
Yeah.
We also have 4 each for starting key lime pie, benching peach cobbler, and dropping banana pudding, and then starting banana pudding, dropping key lime pie, and dropping peach cobbler. So 4 each there, and we have 3 folks who have started key lime pie, benched banana pudding, dropped peach cobbler. And then there was a really funny text submission. Someone who was not too kind to those who are benching banana pudding. Try to find this here too. Yeah, Jeff says these people voting to drop banana pudding need to move back up north and turn in their Southern card on the way out.
I don't know. I mean, all of these, I guess key lime pie is like not really Southern in the sense that it's so far south.
Yes.
Because like you and I have kind of said before too, and I've said this for many, many years, like,
Coastal
the
treat.
South kind of ends like a few miles south of I-10. Right? And then
Fair.
and then somewhere around Gainesville, Ocala, yeah, I know that's more than a few miles perhaps, but somewhere in that realm, you can draw a little line going east to west, and then it just becomes Florida.
Yeah, Florida's its own planet.
Yeah. But like Jacksonville and Tallahassee and the Panhandle, I kind of give the South. All right, we ran out of time for Jay or Nay. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
I should say sorry to you because you're the one that likes to hear the game show.
I do. I'm sorry.
You're the one missing
Well,
out.
we need.
I can even save these for tomorrow too. It's less work I have to.
Well,
do
we need more time. Can we
only get 24 in a
incorporate
day.
Jay or Nay later?
We can. I can play it whenever.
Can we do Jay? Well, no, because we got it. Well, can we do that instead of the drive around? Probably not.
We could. We could throw it in the end of it.
All right. I want to get to that because I just want to hear game.
You
show
want to
music.
hear the game show?
Yeah, I just want to hear game
Yes.
show music. Y'all will hear headlines coming up.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell with a few accidents to get to you. They're causing some issues on the roadways, starting with one on Augusta Road near I-20, Clemson Road at Rame Road in North Springs, Farrah Road at Highway 555 at Killian Road, and Killian Road at I-77. Wetzel's Automotive also wants me to remind you that today is National Hydration Day, and right now it is 95 degrees. So yeah, hydration is a really good idea. Please drink water. Lots of it.
It is 5 o'clock news time on this Monday. It's also the final hour of the Postgame Show. Alongside Elijah Campbell, I'm Jay Phillips. Appreciate you being with us. We start with the College World Series. Game 2 yesterday goes to LSU, a 5-3 victory over the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. That gives LSU their 8th national championship with the win. The Tigers 53-15. Of course, won game 1 on Saturday night, 1-0. Just a dominant performance by their pitching really throughout the entire week in Omaha. But
10 strikeouts from Cade Anderson.
Certainly some controversy yesterday, and we'll get more into that a little bit later on. I won't do that right now in the news, other than, of course, Coastal seeing Kevin Schnall get kicked out of yesterday's game. I will read you in this news portion, though, the statement that Coastal Carolina University put out, and that can be a jumping off point for us for what we'll discuss a little bit later on. And Elijah and I did open the show and really spent the first half hour discussing all of this. But the school itself put out the following statement. This was last night. The ejections of head coach Kevin Schnall and assistant coach Matt Schilling in the bottom of the first inning drastically altered the trajectory of a must-win game for our team. These decisions were made with an alarming level of haste, without an attempt at de-escalation, and deprived our student-athletes of the leadership they have relied on throughout a historic postseason run. This is not about a single call. It's about process and professionalism. In the biggest moment of the college baseball season, our program and its student-athletes deserved better. The NCAA must reevaluate how it trains, assigns, and reviews umpires in championship environments. We expect consistency, communication, and the same level of excellence from officials that we demand of our teams. Our players have represented this university, this conference, and college baseball with integrity and heart. They deserved the opportunity at opportunity today. Again, that's the official statement from the school. That's not from the coaches, the baseball program, the school itself putting that out as a whole. I applaud the statement. I think the statement speaks volumes. Elijah and I mentioned to all of you earlier, and we'll say again, I don't want to get into too much detail here in the news segment, but a lot of things can be true at once. And they can be good and they can be bad and they can be in between and they can vary from opinion to opinion. But a lot of things not only can be, Elijah, but as we have and will again discuss, a lot of things yesterday were true all at once in that particular setting.
Yep. Did the umpire have way too short of a fuse? Absolutely. And you don't even need me to tell you that. All you need to know is that he got thrown in the first inning, got tossed, not even a full inning into the game. In a championship setting, you have to have a little more leeway. Yeah. But did Kevin Schnall open up the door for him to be thrown out by stepping out of the dugout to argue balls and strikes? Yes. Does he maybe stay in the game if he doesn't step out of that dugout? There's a good chance he stays in it.
Probably so.
But the minute or the second you step out of that dugout, of getting thrown out of the game increases significantly.
So, yeah, I mean, in fact, it's almost a certainty. You can't argue balls and strikes. It's not a guideline. You can't argue ball. It's one of the hard and fast rules of the sport at every level. You just can't do it.
Especially with a program that is so detail oriented.
Right.
Like a lot of the best programs in the sport have profiles on umpires or referees. Whether even if in like basketball or football, there's some referees or officials in any sport that are more likely to call one thing and not call another thing, or more likely to let things go more so than others. In that instance, this guy's got a reputation. He's got a reputation to the point where he doesn't mind throwing people out. So knowing that that has to be in your mind when you step out of the dugout, right? And I saw people posting screenshots of last year, Tony Vitello stepping out of the dugout to argue balls and strikes. If he'd have gotten thrown out, it's on him too. Yeah, he just got lucky. He got lucky that he did.
Again, there's discretion. This guy didn't show any, and that's why I say that a lot of things can be true at once, and there is responsibility as well. Based on Coastal's statement, I would concur with them on the NCAA in assigning this man such an important role in such an important moment. And I have to think, I don't know, and we may never, because the NCAA has done nothing other than send an official post on Twitter outlining the rule that was broken, which, again, I don't care where it is in the book.
You don't have to cite.
It doesn't matter. It's baseball. We get it. You can't argue balls and strikes. We all know that. We all know that. And again, it's not a guideline. It's a rule. But there is discretion that could have been shown, and there wasn't any. And I think this guy enjoyed tossing Kevin Schnall yesterday, despite what he says.
He probably got a rush from it. Yeah.
Look at how he did it.
It was demonstrative.
Yeah. So we'll talk more about it coming up in a bit. And if y'all want to weigh in on that, by all means, please do. Speaking of college baseball, from that yesterday to some big news today for a couple of Gamecocks. Congratulations to both Coach Tanner and Kip Bouknight. They will be inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame this year. Kip, of course, the winningest pitcher in Carolina history, 45-12 in his career, 17-1 in that magnificent 2000 season that almost saw Omaha. He also won the Golden Spikes Award that year. And Coach Tanner, of course, at the helm, went to 6 College World Series, 10 Super Regionals, played for the championship 4 times, won 2 of them, sent a bunch of dudes to the bigs. So congratulations. And that just obviously skims the surface for both of those guys in terms of what they did at South Carolina. But congratulations, Kip Bouknight and Coach Ray Tanner will be inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame. Both very well deserved. Now, the Atlanta Braves dropped 2 of 3 in Miami over the weekend. That's not good, especially after you swept the Mets. And now the Braves, they're just driving all the way up 95, man. They just got there. Actually, they probably flew.
Game ended. They took the bus, and they just now showed up.
They probably flew. Braves will be at Citi Field tonight to take on the Mets. 7:10 first start. Atlanta will send Spencer Schwellenbach to the hill. He is 5-4 with a 3.26. Paul Blackburn goes for New York. Just 0-1 with a 6.92. Only 13 innings pitched for that guy. I don't know much about Paul Blackburn, got to be honest with you. 8 strikeouts and 4 walks in 13 innings. And because of that, the Atlanta Braves are favorites in this game?
Yeah, I mean,
minus
got
one
a pitching edge.
Minus 150.
Schwellenbach's pitching great.
The Braves are, look, Acuna is on fire.
He's awesome right now, man.
I mean, he is. I mean, he's not eligible for the league lead yet, but he's hitting over 400 since his return.
It's pretty good.
Otherwise, it's Austin Riley who leads the team in batting average at 272. That's not very good.
Not ideal. Unless you're drawing a ton of walks.
For Austin, that's fine.
Unless you're drawing a walks to supplement that.
But your best hitter in terms of qualifying for the league lead should probably not be hitting 272. Again, for Austin, I'm good with Austin hitting 272. I am. I think that's fine for him.
That's in his ballpark, yeah.
I'm fine for him. But Braves need to have somebody hitting, say, 310.
That should be someone like Ozzie Albies.
I was going to say, Ozzie, I'm looking in your direction. And Michael Harris, bless his heart, is like in the bottom 5 in a lot of categories right now.
He's a reverse Marcelo Zuna.
It's bad.
He's a grand piano at the plate.
I don't know what's happening to Michael Harris. And listen, you can play elite center field, and he does. But at some point, you got to hit. And to be blunt, he ain't hitting.
At some point, when you're not hitting at that level, you're hurting your team.
Yeah.
More than you're helping.
And they signed him to a big contract, man.
Might be regretting that.
I mean, and I don't know that sending him to AAA is really going to, I don't know what that would help him with because he's not going to see any Major League pitching.
Mm-mm.
But seeing Major League pitching
isn't helping him either.
Yeah. You can find a way to get his confidence back, I suppose, but I don't know, man.
Well, if you send him AAA and he still continues to stink the place up, his confidence might be gone for good.
I don't know. That's rough. Braves and Mets tonight in New York City. 7:10 is the first pitch. The Suns have traded Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets for a whole bunch of stuff. The Rockets will get Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, the number 10 pick this year, and 5 second-round picks. The trade can't officially be completed until July the 6th. Durant told Kay Adams, the former NFL Network host, what does she do now, podcast?
Yeah, I think she might do something with FanDuel, I think, maybe.
Being part of the Houston Rockets, I'm looking forward to it. Crazy last couple of weeks, but I'm glad it's over with. So, KD, playing in Texas, getting to keep a lot more of his money because they don't have state income tax.
Nope, he gets to keep all of that, 50-something million?
But not all of it, because if they buy a big house, apparently in Texas, they get you with property taxes.
$54.7 million is what he will be making this
And I
season.
imagine he'll have a big house that probably gets taxed at a high rate.
Actually, I misspoke earlier. The Suns weren't the ones who signed him to the extension. The extension he signed was when he was with Brooklyn, which was for 4 years, $194 million. Speaking
of Brooklyn, indirectly, I'm going to throw in a quick couple of soccer notes here, but this one's just kind of funny. So Crystal Palace is a team in London. They had never won a major trophy in their 100+ year history. This year they won the FA Cup, which is a pretty big deal in England at least. And now they have to find out that Woody Johnson, who owns the Jets, is buying a minority stake in their team. So, Hey, Crystal Palace, right when you think you're rising up just a little bit.
The Grim Reaper comes for everybody.
Not anymore. But apparently the owner, the guy that's selling him his share, had to let go of it so Crystal Palace could play in the Europa League. He owns another team, too, and there's a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
So he had to drop one of them. And Woody Johnson picked it up. So
to the rescue?
No, yeah, exactly. That's like in Fletch. Oh, thank God, the police. And finally, the United States won last night 2-1 over Haiti. It was not a pretty game.
They needed a goal in, the 74th minute?
Yeah, but they have won 3 in a row.
And they won their group.
They won their group in the Gold Cup. They will see Costa Rica on Sunday in the quarterfinal. That is our integrated media headlines of the day. We'll come back with more thoughts on what happened with Coastal yesterday at the College World Series. And we're doing start, bench, drop today, and it has been a popular one. We're starting, benching, and dropping in whatever order. Again, these are alphabetical for your choices. Banana pudding, key lime pie, and peach cobbler. And the Twitters and the text lines continue to buzz with that one. So send your picks in. Lots more to do on the Postgame Show. Guys, too often when you're feeling off, getting a little older, things not working right, you just think it'll go away on its own. Well, whether it's because you think you can tough it out or you don't want to talk about it because you feel a little bit embarrassed about certain problems, you don't have to be that guy at the men's clinic. In fact, you really shouldn't be that guy. Instead, get to feeling better when you see Dr. Dan Balknight and his team at the men's clinic. They are medical experts in healthcare for men. They're dedicated to making you feel like yourself again. Far too often, again, guys just say, hey, I don't want to worry about that. Or, my dad and granddad never went to the doctor and they were fine. Well, don't be that guy. There's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all treatment. They'll sit down with you, get to the root of the issues, and back to feeling the way you want to. Call 803-875-MENS. Set up a free consultation and learn more online at themensclinicsc.com. All right, welcome back in. Postgame Show rolling on here on a Monday. Jay and Elijah with you. We'll get back into start, bench, drop in just a bit, and we're going to throw Jay or Nay into the drive around the SEC. We're going to blend the fun with the frivolous, or excuse me, the serious with the frivolous here. Or, well, we can do all.
We can do all of it.
That's right.
Well rounded.
We're careful to try to bridge these gaps as best we can. But I want to get back for a minute in a little more detail on the College World Series. Listen, I know a lot of people, especially around these parts, believe that there is no way on God's green earth that Kevin Schnall should have ever been ejected from yesterday's game, and that it's completely the fault of the umpire. And I respect that opinion. I don't fully agree with it because, as I said earlier, and I'll say again, a lot of things can be true at one time in certain situations, and in this case, a lot of things are true. We need to start with the most obvious, and we've said it a bunch, but I will say again, in baseball, there are very clear written rules that you simply cannot argue balls and strikes. Because if you do, think of how often you'd be doing that. And I don't know how long that's been in place, certainly at the big league level, decades, and probably many decades, and in college as well. So there's that. Now, you can say, well, that was yesterday. That was terrible, Jay. Yes, it was. Discretion is also something that umpires can and should use. And I do not believe the home plate umpire, whose name is Angel Campos, used yesterday at all. I think he heard one thing he didn't like. He did very quickly, and he did issue the warning. And let me say this too: when an umpire issues a warning, even if one guy's doing it, that's an immediate warning to both sides. You see it a lot when guys are throwing inside at another guy too. Team A's pitcher may have thrown right at the head of Team B's hitter, but both teams just got warned at the same time. The next guy that does it, you're both gone. So the same kind of thing was in play yesterday. I don't know. Look, some guys are hotheads. And, Kevin Schnall could be accused of being a little hot-headed yesterday, too. I would have preferred to see the home plate umpire walk over calmly and somewhat slowly to Kevin Schnall and just say, buddy, I do not want to run you. I understand how big this game is. I'm not saying Angel Campos didn't understand how big the game was. I'm saying I don't think he cared how big the game was. And there is a difference.
Because if he did, the warning would have been a little more direct and personal.
Yeah. And I think maybe the leash is a little longer. And again, when he ran him, he ran him. And, I mean, for a second there, especially one angle, it reminds me almost of, I don't mean this in a bad way, but just it reminded me of something out of, like, WWE. He's throwing him out of there, and the LSU fans jump up out of their seats like, yeah, this is great.
He all but did the splits afterward.
Yeah, is it great? Is it great? No, it's not great. It's not good for the game. And I don't know enough yet. I'm going to be learning more. I'm going to be, leaning on some of the people that were involved in this directly and indirectly over the coming days. I don't want to dwell upon the story for too long, Elijah, but it is a story. And just find out who assigns these people. Again, why were 3 of yesterday's umpires not involved in Game 1? Why not just have the 4 and rotate them? You and I mentioned this earlier. At that point, those 4 men have been on the field with these players, with these coaches. They've got an idea of who they are. Again, the magnitude of the moment isn't lost on any of them. They all know. Angel Campos knew where he was doing his job yesterday. He knew he was behind the plate at Charles Schwab Field in downtown Omaha, Nebraska, in Game 2 of the College World Series Finals. He knew what he was doing. He just didn't care that he should have shown more discretion. But I fault the NCAA as much for Angel Campos being assigned to this. He's been in college baseball since he was basically fired from Major League Baseball. He wasn't a very good umpire. He did it for 7 years. He had a really bad track record of running guys. He's just, again, I'm being kind, but as I've read between the lines on him, and last night and today, I used the word earlier. I'll use it again, and then I'm going to toss it to you. He's sensitive, and that's not necessarily a great mix. Look,
no.
At some, and again, a lot of things can be true. I don't think he did his job well. I don't think the men and women that assigned him to do his job thought it through in terms of who they were assigning. And I don't think Kevin Schnall did his job very well in putting himself in position to have the rules apply to him, however they may have been applied.
Yeah. And
a lot of failure there to go around.
And the umpire who flopped on the contact. Like that's a flop.
Yeah.
We're calling that a flop.
Yeah,
You're getting
absolutely.
a flop warning.
He tripped over he tripped over the other umpire, man. Hey, Kevin Schnall didn't bump it. I don't even think Kevin Schnall was looking at him.
And I think what makes matters worse is that let's just say Coastal went on to win that game. Kevin Schnall's not coaching in the final.
No.
Because he's suspended. It's an automatic 2-game suspension. So not only are you impacting that game, you're impacting a potential third, right? And that would have been, like, this umpiring crew, honestly, is lucky that LSU won that game, because you know what we'd be talking about today going into this game? Kevin Schnall's not coaching because he got run in the first inning of Game 2.
There's still some confusion as well as to exactly what he was, like, they were given multi-game suspensions for. Because apparently it's not, you don't get a multi-game suspension just for getting ejected.
It's the contact with the umpire.
Then some were saying, well, it might not be contact for the umpire, then it was going to be some. I don't know, man. I think they were really trying to save face, the umps and the NCAA. I'm disappointed in the NCAA leadership for not coming out with more. I'm disappointed in the NCAA leadership for not having Angel Campos talk with a pool reporter. There were plenty of media on hand in the press box yesterday. One of them could have been sent down. And this happens when there's controversy in the bigs. That they're not going to ever do a press conference. I wish they would. That's never going to happen in any sport. It's just not. And I get why. I don't like why, but I get why. But in the bigs, in the NBA, in the NFL, and maybe this is just a college thing. You know, maybe in the pros they just take more time to do it. But you'll get, and you're probably not going to like it, but at least you'll get an explanation given to a pool reporter who will then disseminate that information to everybody else, and out it goes.
Mm-hmm. You get more context with what happened too, even if it's not good contact. You're getting a side of the story.
You're not going to like it more, you know, and I mean, and so some may say, well, that's why they don't do it, because what's the point? Well, you still need to put them on the record. It's too big a moment to just leave it to the NCAA saying, Kevin Schnall broke the rule. No bleep, Sherlock. Thanks. We knew that. Why wasn't more discretion shown? I do think that's a very fair, and again, to go back to Coastal's statement on the training and the assignment, the NCAA, and again, whoever, I say the NCAA, I don't want to do that. There are specific people within the organization that run this tournament. And let's face it, 99.9% of the time, they do a fine job. But if that 0.1% pops up, and it pops up at that moment, you got to tell us, like, what's going on. I just, the public, your fan base is owed an explanation. And the ESPN guys were pretty incredulous.
Yeah, I mean, it shocked them a lot. And it wasn't just that Kevin Schnall got tossed. Yeah, first base coach got run too. Yeah. Now you're down 2 coaches.
So again, I see sort of a triangulated sense of failure, if you will. I might go 33% on all of it. I might not. I don't know. But again, the umpire and really the crew, but certainly Angel Campos behind the plate, bears a lot of responsibility. Kevin Schnall bears a lot of responsibility. Perhaps the bulk of the responsibility really does fall on Kevin Schnall.
So you got to know. I mean, on our Firehouse Subs text line, and, you know, Ump John texts in. He says, I've been umpiring since 1996. One of the first rules that you are taught in class is there is no arguing balls and strikes. It is an automatic ejection. You have to have thick skin to umpire, and that's the thing. I mean, if you're Kevin Schnall, you opened up the possibility of getting ejected the second you stepped out of that dugout. Yeah. And you got to understand the risk-reward element of this. Is it worth giving this umpire an earful about his strike zone in the first inning of this game when I know I can't do it?
Right. And look, the calls when he held up his 3 fingers, like you missed 3, he's right. He's right. I mean, those were bad strike calls.
Yeah,
they were. But you can't do it. And that's you know, it's kind of, Elijah, like when you and I talk about, I know it's not quite apples to apples, but when we talk about like committee selection processes for basketball or baseball, like, don't give them anything to use against you. Because if you do, they will. You know, it's kind of like getting arrested, right? Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. When you take steps out of the dugout and it's over the strike zone, you're going to get run. Soft? Yes. Avoidable from both sides? Yes. But it's hard to just say it was all on the umpire. And I think it's hard to say it's all on Kevin Schnall. But I wish the NCAA would just not have assigned such a controversial umpire in such an important moment. And is he really any better? Strike zones in college baseball are so inconsistent, man. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Tommy Moody and I used to sit in this room and talk about that a lot. So inconsistent.
Too much variance.
Yeah. And you got to get better with that part of it, too. Drive around the SEC is next. It is hot. I hope your air conditioning system is keeping you and your family comfortable. But if it is not, or if you're concerned about it, if you don't know when you last had it checked, or if it's keeping you cool but costing you too much money, now might be a fantastic time to call Roy and Dana Finley and their crew at AAA Heating and Air and take advantage of a fantastic offer and get yourself a brand new system. They can do it probably within a couple of days because they did it at my house just a few weeks ago. We had ours in within 48 hours of calling over there. Listen, 15-year parts and labor warranty, a $1,500 system buyback rebate. They're guaranteed to get you financed as well. And no payments or interest for a full year. I mean, this is a great time. 15 years of guaranteed comfort from AAA Heating and Air. 803-677-1500. You can also call that number if you just want to get everything checked out and make sure you're good to go for these hot summer months. Tell them we sent you. Do what I've done and many, many others. Stay nice and cool with AAA Heating and Air. 803-677-1500.
From the Wetzel's Automotive Traffic Studios, I'm Elijah Campbell. The few accidents to get to you that are causing some issues on the roadways this afternoon, starting with one on Augusta Road near I-20, Clemson Road at Rame Road, North Springs, I-20 eastbound at Alpine Road near exit 76B, I-26 eastbound at I-20 near exit 107B. And then lastly, looks like we have one at Killian Road at I-77. That one's been causing some issues for about the last hour and a half or so.
It is Drive Around the SEC time on this Monday. Welcome back in. Jay and Elijah with you. We'll continue talking about the College World Series. LSU wins their 8th national championship, 5-3 victory yesterday, 1-0 in a just brilliant performance from both teams, at least both pitching staffs. Well, really, not even the staff. Anderson was – people are saying he's going to be the first pick in the draft, and I think maybe he solidified that.
Cade Anderson's pretty good.
Yeah.
10 strikeouts in a complete game.
Against a team that can hit. Coastal's really good, and we talked about it a bunch. If, as constructed, with making no roster changes, if they are in a power conference, they're a top 8 national seed. I was telling you, Elijah, on Friday, a friend of mine last week asked me, what do you think they would have done this year in the SEC record-wise? And I said, I think they would have probably won around 18 games. Going to go 26-4 because that's just nobody's going 26-4 in the SEC.
That would have been a record.
But I could anywhere from say 17 to 20 or 21 games. I think would absolutely be within their realm of possibility. John wants to weigh in on what we've been discussing with the umpiring controversy yesterday. Hey, John, welcome in.
Hey, Jay, thanks, guys. Real quick, man, I just want y'all's perspective on this real quick. First of all, that from what I understand, the guy that came in that tripped on, and he tripped on Campo's foot. What actually happened? Yeah. Gets up, then he gives the first base umpire the 2-game suspension, and he doesn't say 1 game. He literally tells him 2 games.
Right.
That's a 2-game suspension because you bumped the umpire when he didn't. Doesn't it seem like the NCAA would look at that and say, dude, he never touched you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and Schnall in his postgame said they'll probably go back, in so many words anyways, they'll probably go back and look at that. And I saw Aaron Fitt kind of echo the same thing in one of his tweets, Aaron from D1 Baseball. I don't know, as Elijah kind of pointed out, John, now that the game, or the series rather, and now the season is over, perhaps that's why we haven't heard more from the NCAA on some of this stuff. But, he tripped on the other umpire. Schnall, I don't even know if Schnall really knew he was there.
Exactly. The 2 other things I'll let you guys go. First and foremost, I would have loved to have seen an Earl Weaver or a Billy Martin go off on him. Simply because Schnall was upset, but the bottom line is that, man, that definitely changed. That no way that didn't change that game. I'm not saying that LSU probably was the better team overall, but that's just ridiculous, and they really need to do something. I love what you said a minute ago. That they just never respond to this type of stuff, and then somebody needs to be held accountable for that. But anyway, the last thing is this. The rumor, I had a buddy that went to Coastal. He was at the game. I called him because I'm seeing online people are saying that Chance Miller had got kicked. I'm like, why would Chance have got kicked out? Now, they came back and dispelled that rumor, but it's kind of tough sitting there, Jay.
Oh, I'm sure it was. And yes, I did. There was a rumor. Chance did not get tossed. He did not get run out of the stadium. He was there for the entire game. I don't even know how something like that starts other than, again, the internet, if you will, John. Thanks for the phone call, buddy. Yeah, listen, I think, and again, I say this a little tongue-in-cheek, but he makes a funny point. At that point, if you're Kevin Schnall, You may as well just go, man. And I don't mean go out. I mean, you may as well go off.
Set some fireworks.
Yeah. I mean, you've already
on the field.
What more can they do to you, if you will? So you may as well have just gone nuts on the guy. I know people, that might not be the most mature way to feel or the most mature thing to do,
but
or
there
whatever.
is such thing as getting your money's worth.
Yeah, and that's what his point was about an Earl or a Billy. You know, Bobby used to do it. I mean, you may as well go. What's the worst that can happen? Now, we have read the question, because I think this I could probably carefully answer that last question.
Yes. Brian on the Firehouse Subs text line asked, since there was no second game for him to be suspended, will the Coastal coach be suspended for the first game of next year?
I believe so.
If the suspension stands.
I believe so. I'm not 100% on that, and I didn't have a chance to dig into that, but I believe that will carry into you are suspended if it's upheld. Now, I would imagine here,
I'm not sure of what this word I'm about to make up, appealability. I don't know what the appealability.
That sounds like a good word. I mean, look, any decision that involves suspension like that, like for multi-game, can be appealed. How, now, like today, I don't know if there's some panel up there that could hear like a quick appeal if they were playing tonight. Mm-hmm. Again, they're not. But there probably is. Or I don't, and I'm serious when I say this. I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know if the president of the NCAA, in this case Governor Baker, has the ability to just wave his magic wand in short-term situations. I would imagine the president of the NCAA would not want to ever do that. But as I understand, I believe that those suspensions, should they be upheld, will carry over to the beginning of next season.
Yeah, I know a lot of them do in other circumstances. Got another interesting text here from William. He says, hey guys, I'm 3 seasons removed for being a D1 college umpire. You are correct. A lot could have been handled differently. All I will say is umpiring is just everything else in the world. Some people you just don't want to work with. 2 of the crew I know personally and have worked with them on the field, and I feel sorry that they're guilty by association for the actions yesterday.
Thank you for that. I think I do think the NCAA baseball committee should have really taken a deeper look at who they were putting on the field. And again, why are you changing the crew? I don't mean that. Maybe they've always done that. But that just doesn't make sense to me, Elijah. Like, assign the crew to the finals. You got 4 now. You might have an alternate that's sitting somewhere in case somebody, falls over because he gets bumped.
They trip over another umpire's foot and has to be carted off or anything like that.
But otherwise, why are we why are we having 3 brand new umpires in game 2? That just doesn't make sense. You're wanting to reward them? Well, that
feels like it's
more
logistical.
Well, that's just more NCAA crap. Like, oh no, they've earned it too. Well, I mean, look, who graded out the best? You got a system. If the 4 graded out the best, there's your umps, and number 5 is your alternate, or whatever. And if you need to have a whole other crew there as alternates just in case, fine. But why are you putting them in the game? And Campos did not umpire on Saturday, so I don't really understand. Again, there's a lot of failure. There's a lot of failure, and it's unfortunate that becomes such a big part of the story. All right, we're going to make that the drive around the SEC because an SEC team was involved, even if we didn't really talk about the team in the SEC, other than LSU wins their 8th title. Congratulations. And Jay Johnson, 2 in 3 years since coming over from Arizona.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad. All right, we'll come back on the other side. We have a few more start bench drops, and I guess we're going to try to squeeze in Jay or Nay and Jay versus the Internet. Can we do that?
They said it couldn't be done.
We're going to find out.
We're here to do the impossible.
Here we go. Welcome back in. Final few minutes of the post-game show. We got a lot to get to here in like 5 minutes, so we're gonna get as much in as possible. Do you want me to give you some more?
Absolutely. We got tallies to.
All right. Let me go as fast as I can here. Tyler, start key lime pie, bench banana pudding, drop peach cobbler. Let's see. Jason says start peach cobbler, bench key lime pie, drop banana pudding. CD says start banana pudding, bench key lime pie, drop cobbler. James, start peach cobbler, bench key lime pie, drop banana pudding. And our good friend Will King says the problem there is no consistency with how people make banana pudding. It's the ultimate wild card. So therefore, he's going to start peach cobbler, bench key lime, and drop banana pudding. And Coach Tony Annan says start key lime pie, bench banana pudding, drop peach cobbler. There you go. I got a few more, but we're limited on time here. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to start key lime pie, bench banana pudding, and drop peach cobbler. Very hard, but
yeah, I'm gonna start banana pudding. I'm gonna bench. Oh, this is so tough. I'm gonna bench key lime pie, and I'm gonna drop peach cobbler. I don't really want to, and again, I hate these hard ones. I don't want to do that.
We've got about 40 submissions so far, and only 2 have 10, and that is starting banana pudding, benching peach cobbler, dropping key lime pie, and then the other one is starting peach cobbler, benching key lime pie, dropping banana pudding.
It's a good mix, man.
It's a very good. The tally list here is off the chart.
Thanks to all. All right, can we play game show music and try to squeeze all these in?
Why, yes, we can.
All right, let's do it.
We are here to do the impossible. They said it couldn't be done to do these two in the same segment, but we're going to prove them wrong.
Roll through it.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Jay or nay? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Jay or nay? The Tyrese Halliburton injury changes how you remember OKC's title run.
Jay. Yeah. I mean, best player on the other team got hurt in the first quarter.
And he was on fire.
Yeah. Jay. I mean, it again, kind of like the Coastal game. Does it alter the outcome? I don't know. Does it alter the game? Yes.
Yeah. And how you feel about it? You'll remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Here's a fun one. J or nay? Cal Raleigh will tie Chris Davis in 2013, Mark McGuire in 1998, and Reggie Jackson in 1969 for the second most home runs before an All-Star break with 37. Right now, he's at 31. Don't think he catches Bonds. Bonds was at 39. That's the record.
That's 6 more in about a month. No, not even a month. Nay.
Goes nay.
Nay. Oh, that's going to be tough then.
An incredible season, though.
Yeah.
And lastly, J or nay? Kevin Durant has the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals.
Nay.
Pretty quick on the trigger.
Regular season team. Doesn't matter who's starring for him. Hakeem ain't walking through that door.
He's not. Steve
there's
Francis
that.
ain't walking through the door. He
Yeah.
just won regular season games, too, though.
Can we leave the music up for the internet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just do it. What the heck,
Let's do
man?
it for the internet.
Yeah.
All right. Jay versus the internet. You picked up a game by way of the Thunder covering the spread. So you're now at 30 and 37. The internet's 35 and 32. No, you're 31 39. The internet's 35 and 35.
Yeah.
Sorry. Read the wrong one.
Okay.
All right. Total bases tonight. Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley, or Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor.
Give me the Braves.
Jay goes with Acuna and Riley, and it was tied as a 50-50 split, and I will be the tiebreaker, and I will vote Soto Lindor. Just a little intrigue here. Who scores the most runs in the NL Central tonight? The Pirates are playing at the Brewers. The Cubs are at the Cardinals. Which of those 4 teams will score the most runs?
Cubs.
Say the Cubs, and the internet with over 50% of the vote also agrees, says it will be the Cubbies. And lastly, Cal Raleigh again, 31 homers, a lot of Cal Raleigh in this segment, but having an incredible season. Does he hit a home run tonight against the Minnesota Twins? Yes or no?
No.
Jay says no, and the internet concurs. So you have a chance to pick up a game.
Just because in any given game, it's like,
I feel like every time I've done a home run prop, the player in the home run prop always hits it.
who?
I've done one where it's like, does Freddie Freeman or Shohei Ohtani hit a home run? And they hit homers. And I did one if there was going to be, I think the last time I did a Shohei Ohtani one, if he hits a home run, he hit it in the first at bat.
Oof. The guy's pitching tonight has got a 4.54 ERA.
Ben Ober.
I'll keep it at no.
He's keeping it at no.
All right. Great show today, man. That was fun. Thank you to all. It was a lot to get to. Good stuff. Do it again tomorrow. See you. Finally, one last note from our good friends at Integrated Media. How's your system treating you when it comes to everything you watch? Can you do it better? Well, of course you can. Do you want to do it better? Of course you do. 803-948-8327. Get ahead of the football rush. Call Integrated Media. Now, listen, basketball's done. College baseball's done. So you got the bigs coming up here. You got a few things going on this summer. But soon enough, it's time to watch all your football. And if you want to do it better, get ahead, as I said, of that football rush. Call Integrated Media today. Maybe you love what you have indoors and you would like an outdoor system to enjoy the beautiful fall weather, watch your football, maybe grill out or whatever else you want to do. They have outdoor systems that look and sound just like everything indoors, but they're made to be outside all the time. You don't have to cover them up, don't have to bring them in, nothing to worry about except enjoying the ball game. 803-948-8327 for all of your home theater needs. Work with my good friends at Integrated Media.